Well, hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 114 of our Get Your Goals annual challenge. We're focusing on our spiritual goals, spiritual health, spiritual well-being this month, the month of April. And at the end of each month, I decided early on in this year's challenge, we are going to cover a goals process, a goal setting, goal getting, goal dealing with process each month for each area and aspect of our life. So we did emotional in February, we did mental well-being, mental health in March, and this month we are doing spiritual well-being. Next month we'll do physical, and so on and so forth, through all 9 areas of the life framework that I use to kind of structure my life and make some semblance or add some semblance of order to what's sometimes very chaotic. Life is a wild ride for most of us. And so we want to try to take what we can control and control it and add a little structure. And I do that through the life framework. Learned it from Tony Robbins, a 7-part life framework. Geez, it would have been in the late 80s, early 1990s when he was teaching that. He learned it from Jim Rohn, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, and contribution. And after the pandemic, actually during the pandemic, I was doing a lot of things to change and adapt to what was going on in our world. And in 2021, early 2021, then I joined a coaching group and a coaching program that was working on core skills and core areas, the things that are really, it's like our core values. They're internal to us, but they impact everything, just like the different life area frameworks do. And I added confidence and communication to my personal life framework and the way I structure things, so that not only do I have goals for all the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationship, and contribution areas of my life, but I also have them for communication and confidence. Why? Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I need to work on my communication and my confidence skills. Actually, not sometimes, all the time, on a continually improving basis. So today we're talking about step 1 of that process, the goal process that we identified in January. We went through 15 or so different frameworks in January to look at different ones, try them on, and see what process felt best for us. We ended up coming up with a combined process that's 7 steps now. And so the last 7 days of every month, we're going to cover step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6, step 7, so that we are clear and we get an opportunity to practice setting a specific goal using this process for the area that we're talking about. This month, it's spiritual. So the first step of the process is to identify our current story, our current situation, and identify our desired story, our desired situation, the thing that we want in our spiritual area and aspect of our life with respect to this specific one thing we're going to look at. And so what I like to do is, and I'll show you what I'm doing exactly. In my book, I write down current situation, and then I write down desired situation, because I'm going to do like we do with the wants and don't wants. A lot of time it's hard to know what we want, but we don't have any trouble, at least I don't, as human beings, knocking off all the things that we don't want. If we think about relationships, it's pretty easy to know what we don't want. And then what we do want is usually just the opposite of that, right? Hey, there's no communication in my relationship. I want awesome communication, 2-way communication, and understanding one another and all the details about communication in my relationship. Same with spirituality. Maybe, and I actually haven't picked the goal I'm going to look at yet. What I'm doing is just listing out my current situation in and with respect to my spiritual health and well-being. Let me grab my magnifying glass so I can actually see what I wrote down so far. So I wrote little spiritual connection. And so what would be the opposite of that? Well, I want a certain level of spiritual connection. And in order to know how to get that, and if I pick that one as my goal, I have to say, okay, if I feel like I don't have enough spiritual connection, what's the right amount for me of spiritual connection? How much spiritual connection do I want to achieve this year? And then how can I turn that into a goal? And we'll do that through the rest of the steps of the process. But first we have to know where we are and where we want to be, because that creates the gap, which creates some internal tension that motivates us to go for what we want, right? If we're comfortable and we're just sitting around eating bonbons and drinking yummy coffee, how motivated are we to take action or change? We're not very motivated. So today what we're going to do for our action item is we are going to, and I like to use storytelling. I like to meditate. I like to use a lot of different ways to come up with my story. But today I just want to use the want, don't want type exercise. So current, I'm going to list out all the current things about my spirituality right now and what actually is. Let's see what else I wrote down. Minimal volunteering. I volunteer a little bit, but not a whole lot. No consistent spiritual practice. Yes, that is true. I wrote down meditation, self-care, forgiveness, gratitude, and time in nature. And in the winter, I don't get much time in nature, so I definitely want more time in nature. So I'm going to pick one of these areas after I do the opposite, or after I do what I want. So here's what is, what's going on right now. Be super honest with yourself. You know, I could almost say no volunteering. The volunteering I do is when I'm down in Texas with my mom at St. Vincent de Paul. And for the most part, that's it. You know, I don't actually physically get out and volunteer as much. And I need to, maybe if that's the one I pick, I need to look for, because I want to volunteer more, a certain number of hours a week or a month that I'm going to volunteer, the different organizations I'd like to explore and look into and volunteer at. You know, I might get one of my sisters to take me, since I don't drive these days, to go volunteer and engage with other people, in like-minded people, in a way that feels right to me and feels like I'm positively impacting the world. So today, current brainstorming. What do you really want? Here's whatever I am. Here's what I want. And then we're going to pick one today, and you can just share the one thing below. You know, maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's start a forgiveness practice. Maybe it's start a gratitude journal. Maybe it's, you know, not just, we'll talk about this down the road, but maybe it's not just start, but actually write in it 3 times a week or every day, whatever works for you. Okay. Any questions? Hit me up. Otherwise, our action item, identify where your current spiritual situation is. Go ahead and look at what do you want versus what is, right? And if you already have what you want versus what is, that's not the one you're going to pick for the next few days as we go through this spiritual goal setting process. All right. If you need any help with this, you can share the area in the comments below. I don't know what mine is yet. I haven't decided. I'm going to finish my list of what currently is. And then, you know, maybe I want to be kinder, because sometimes I have not kind thoughts. I mean, I don't mean to, but it's human nature. So maybe I want to find ways to do that. And actually, I'm using a tool I discovered this month again called the Who Does That Belong To tool. We talked about that a few days back. All right, questions asked. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow. Have fun with this.